Well, good morning, all you beautiful people. I hope my audio is coming through okay. This is MrNutt, and as Mrs. Nutt announced on our last video, we're going to start some regular video sessions. We're going to call this one Freeform Fridays, and I'm going to close this for the win because I am going faster than normal when I start these videos. We're going to get on every Friday and we're just going to ride and talk. This week, one of the subjects that I wanted to talk about is something that I've been dealing with in business, and I hope can help both my clients and my non-clients out there. It's kind of directed at salespeople of the automobile and motorcycle persuasion. And it's a lesson in branding yourself and in looking at your job as a business rather than as a job. So, before I get into that subject matter, let's go ahead and roll the intro and get this thing kicked off. So today I am riding from, right now I'm between Glenpool, a little town in northeast Oklahoma called Glenpool, little city, and the smaller city of Kiefer, Oklahoma. I'm headed west towards what they call Old Highway 75, which will, I'll turn north towards Sapulpa and then hit Route 66 and take Route 66 home. So I'm riding my 2018 Harley Davidson Breakout 114. Hopefully you guys have seen a lot of information on this bike and I don't have to go through the specs or the details. You know, one of the wonderful things about this bike since I've gotten this Bellstar helmet is, A, the aerodynamics on this helmet are incredible for a bike without a windshield. The helmet doesn't buffer. It doesn't pull, it doesn't tug, it doesn't, the windshield doesn't, or the shield doesn't vibrate and blur your vision. Let me give a thumbs up to Bell helmets and this Bellstar. It's a Bellstar MIPS DMS or DLX. The MIPS DLX, it's the one with the self-tinting shield and the Panavision. Just for reference, I can see all the way to my peripheral and not see the helmet. The helmet offers one of the best fields of view I've ever had. The only thing it blocks on the downside, even with this camera mounted to my face, is the tank. I've got full view of my gauges without moving my head. I've got full peripheral view without turning my head. So it's, I really do like this helmet for a guy that hates helmets. And I stick by the fact that I frickin' hate helmets. This one's been the best one so far. I'm very, very happy with it. So, as I turn here on Old Highway 75 and head towards Sapulpa, you know, I've been surprised when I go into dealerships these days and people haven't learned. People are entering the commission profession of automobile sales, Harley Davidson and motorcycle sales, and they're hoping that their employer does a good enough job in marketing and bringing in business that they can just kind of like take their turn, talk to the next folks on the lot as it is their turn, and make a living. And you know, that has always been part of the car business. And the car business has always been one of the best examples. The retail automotive, retail motorcycle business has always been one of the best example of the 80-20 rule, where 20% of your people are going to do 80% of the production and earn 80% of the money. one of the things I try and do is work with individual salesmen, even those who are not employed by my clients, when I see them and have a chance to talk to them, on what they're doing to brand themselves. What are they doing to create their own audience? And of course I hear all the things about, people who come in and they talk to me and then they go away and they come back and they talk to somebody else. And I always ask them, whose fault is that? Well, it's my employer, it's this person, it's, customers aren't very loyal. And I want to put this kind of out there. If somebody comes into the dealership and speaks with you and you have an opportunity to introduce yourself to them and have a conversation with them, and you haven't added value to your services and how you can service them, if you haven't given them a perception of why you're different, why you're better, why they should absolutely deal with you based purely on the relationship you build with them and whatever time you have with them while they're on your lot, it's your fault. I want to make that really, really clear. Sales is a profession. Commission sales on an automobile dealership is an entrepreneurial endeavor, and your entire job is to build your brand within the brand of that dealership. And I gotta tell you, in the Harley Davidson world especially, in the Jeep world, there are some examples out there of salespeople who have created their brand within their dealership's brand, and they normally work for a dealership that has been extremely good at building their brand within the Jeep or Harley Davidson brand. If your dealership isn't doing that, if you work for a dealership that isn't doing that, that doesn't have that idea, that doesn't have that attitude and that perspective, you might want to consider one of two things. One is finding a dealership that does and going to work for that dealership. Standing out within a standout dealership is really one of the best situations you can be in. Second, what I consider to be the best opportunity is becoming the standout brand within that dealership that's going to make it so easy for you. You become the person who takes care of your customers, who assures that their customers get good service, that follows up with their customers after the sale, that creates a relationship with their customers. I want to say this before I say anything else. Your job as a salesperson, as a sales consultant, within any business where you're paid commission, has nothing to do with selling things. Your job is to build relationships and to build your value within that relationship, because people buy from people they like. That is 100% tried and true. So, what I used to do when I had my own dealerships was I would teach salesmen that when your customer calls you for service, you go back and you work with the service. You don't transfer them off to somebody else. You stay in the middle and you assure that they get good service. You want to make sure that if they're calling you for service, you are doing your job. And again, this is not to undermine the service writers and the value of the service writers. Hopefully, as a salesman, if you're really good, you work in a dealership that's got a couple of service writers that are really good, and you've built a really good relationship where you can work together with your customer. So that's number one. Build a relationship with everybody that comes in. If they don't buy from you, continue to build that relationship. Right now, you have tools available to you in content creation and marketing yourself and branding yourself that have never existed before, that have almost no cost. Actually, at their bare minimum, they have no cost. You probably have a phone on you with a camera. That camera is probably connected to the internet, and you can probably sit there all day long and tell people why you do what you do, and why you're extremely good at what you do, and why you love the opportunity to build relationships within your business, whether you sell them something or not. If you do that as a sales pitch, it's not going to work. If you become that as a person, there's nothing that's going to work better. One of the things that I really love about doing what I do is I have dealerships out there that are not my clients because they're doing it right. And I'm not going to mention this particular dealership's name because they're not my client. But they're doing things right, and they're doing things through a consultative process that is revolutionary in the industry. They are probably, in my opinion, they're the number one Harley Davidson performance shop in the United States, if not the world. These guys are not doing enough work in their service department to basically do a lot of trial and error, to put a lot of combinations together, to kind of figure out what is the best performance solution, the best value in performance solutions for any rider that approaches them and wants their bike to perform a certain way. They've done so much work, they've put so much work into becoming the kings of performance Harley Davidson right now as far as dealerships are concerned. I've got nothing but admiration and respect for them. And they're doing it using social media. A lot of you are going to know just from my posts exactly who I'm talking about, exactly what dealership I'm talking about. But one of the things they started a few months ago that I thought was freaking brilliant was they put up a questionnaire for people who are looking for performance work on their bikes. They put up an extensive questionnaire about the bike itself, the type of riding they did, the rider's skill level, whether they rode 2-up. I mean, they literally got the situation and how they wanted their bike to perform different than it performs right now. What is it they're looking for in the money that they're going to invest in their motorcycle for performance? I'm telling you, this should be practiced in sales. So, to me, if you're a serious salesperson and you're selling automobiles, you're selling cars, or you're selling bikes on commission basis, your very first mission is to start thinking yourself as an entrepreneur and stop thinking about yourself as an employee. Stop thinking about days off. Stop thinking about all the other crap that employees think about. Think about adding value to your place of work and to your customers, to being a source of value. I'm going to tell you right now, if you become a person of value to your business, if you become a person of value to the place where you work, if you become a person of value to your customers, the money will absolutely follow, and it will follow in numbers that right now you can't even imagine. Second, start branding yourself. And what I mean by that is start defining your culture within the culture of your dealership by producing content. Content has to be something like this. You're going to see when I'm done with this, I'm going to load this to the program, I'm going to cut it as fast as I can, and I'm going to get it up as raw as I can. Because more than anything, we're on a mission now to show that you can continue to produce a lot of content, not invest a tremendous amount of time or money in getting that content out in front of an audience. So that's job one. Become a person of value, create your own brand, develop your own culture within the culture, define that to an audience, find your audience, and start engaging and being of value to that audience, whether they buy from you or not. Fall in love with the process of engaging and getting to know people. If you don't, you're probably always going to be somewhat mediocre when it comes to sales. So the next thing I want to talk about, kind of the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to your job in retail automotive, retail Harley Davidson, retail motorcycle sales, is you have a responsibility to the person, to the institution that has put up the building, that is doing the advertising, bringing in the customers, and spending the money, investing the money, and giving you an opportunity to build your brand and to do the things that I previously mentioned. You have an obligation to make sure that if you run into a customer where there is a conflict, and this happens, I don't care who you are, you're going to find people coming on your lot and you are going to have a personality conflict. You're not going to be able to define why necessarily, you're just going to know it exists. I want you to enter into a practice, enter into a partnership with somebody within the dealership who has the same mindset you do, who has the same goals that you do, but has a little different personality than you do. And with that person, I want you to build a relationship that allows you to turn over those customers where you have a conflict, where there's a personality conflict, and do the best thing, not thinking of yourself, but thinking of the person who's investing in the infrastructure that is allowing you to make a living. Again, the rewards that will come with that, being able to expand yourself by aligning yourself with somebody who has a different personality than you, a different approach than you, a different life experience than you, those things are going to be highly beneficial to you. So this is Freeform Friday. That's my message to you guys, to you men and women out there selling on commission. I do hope you'll join us every week as we put up this content. Please leave your comments down below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. I hope that I've added something of value to your life today. Stay safe out there. Peace, and I'll see you down the road.